Good evening, Seth here. Hello there. If you don't know me, I decided to start making U-bows. Yes, for various reasons. I started doing this, but I've done a bunch now. And while I was learning how to do this, videos like what I'm attempting to make here came in very handy. The other reason to make this video is historically it's very hard to make money making bows. So like and subscribe, that would be grand. Who knows where we could take this channel? It would be fantastic. But what did I want to talk about? Jigs. Jig, the almighty jig. That's this bench here. Um, Jig has a lot of meanings. I vaguely remember hearing a QI where they talked about jig being the word with the most meanings attached to it over history. Where in this case, it refers to this bench here, which I sort of cobbled together over the last sort of 6 months. Let me get my other jig. This one's a little bit more orderly. Got that in frame. Bit more simple, this one. Effectively what they are is a fixed frame for you to hold your piece within. Because jigs pop up in all manner of industrial applications. The first one that comes to mind is a jig for making a bike frame. You know, you need to hold certain poles in certain places in a very particular way. So a jig comes in handy. But jigs, you can't really walk into a shop and go, "Can I have a recurve bow jig, please?" I don't know, there might be a shop. I imagine America has a shop where you could do that. It's something they'd probably just say, "No, you go and make it." You Well, yeah, these ones are just planks of wood put together, and long enough, obviously, to be able to operate on the entirety of the bow. Sturdy enough to be able to take pressure from whichever sort of whichever angle you're going to apply it from. That's probably the weak side with this one because I've cobbled it together from so many bits to make it work. There's potentially angles and flex in there that shouldn't be there, but it's pretty good. The bows are coming out straight. As long as I do everything I need to with the stave and preparation wise. Because there's a few benefits to using a jig over a form. A form would be, I've not actually got any made up because I'm using heat guns and clamps rather than steam and forms. You get a piece of wood like this and you'd literally cut the shape, the recurve shape out of your wood, and then you'd use this to bend your steamed wood around. Behave. That's not what we're doing here. That's not the option I've gone for. Heat gun and jig and clamps. So there's a few advantages of using the jig and clamps over the forms. And one of them is the variety. You get sort of infinite variety of shapes that you can create by combining chocks and the clamps and where you put the clamp on your limb. Yeah, I think you've only got about this much in frame. With the jig, being that this is a symmetrical bow, not an asymmetrical bow that you might be making, you could figure it out, but the jig is symmetrical. So everything that you can see here is identical on the other end of the jig. So you can put the bow in the middle of the jig, clamp it down, and know that whatever you do on one side, you can apply to the same side. I don't know if you can see it here. I've got numbers running along the bottom of the bench here. But it's something you can put together yourself. You can make them extremely elaborate if you wanted to. Something I have been trying to consider is a jig where it's easier to put clamps going this way as well as this way, so I can cure various twist or alignment issues at the same time as doing the recurve. But this one's good. This one has been good. You need to get crafty with it. It can be quite fiddly. Excuse me. Trying to get well, especially if you haven't flattened out around your handle. Yes, if you've not got a flat surface to clamp this down, and also depending on the profile of your limb, these are quite tubular, so it's going to try and rock around. So you've got to be crafty in the way that you clamp it down and the way that you apply your chocks and such. But it is literally a case of that. You get clever with it. You see where you need to put yourself a chock. Let's say if we wanted to create more bend in this limb here, we'd need to heat this up. We use talking about the heat gun in this application, not the steam. This is sort of one of the benefits of it. The benefits is steam is better. Steam is more gentle on the wood. Well aware of this. You're less likely to get cracks on the upper there. It's particularly the heartwood that doesn't like to get bent. So I'm a little bit tentative with this one at the minute. We got some growth rings that are threatening to come up there. But yeah, with the heat gun, as long as you're nice and gentle and long with it, I'd say I might use water with it as well. As so the main risk with the heat gun is scorching it. You might burn your wood quite easily. Well, obviously with steam, you're not going to be able to do that. And steam is more effective from what I've seen. Getting into the wood, making it super pliable, and allowing it to take on those super recurve shapes. But composite bows are more they're better. They're better for recurve because you can you layer everything up, and then in the process of layering it up and gluing it, you also give it its shape. So all three of its layers, or two or three of its layers, or whatever, can all move across each other. And being thinner bits of wood, they're going to bend easier. And yeah, so that's a whole different other process, though. That's just something to mention. There's loads of different processes you can apply to making bows. It's wild. And the more materials we get, the more materials you have to play around with, and then different processes to try and get them to bow. With this one, where are we at with this one? Yeah, I've done 2 heating sessions on this one today. I did some by the wedges to try and bring the limb forward, but then I also wanted to give some more reflex in the tips here for this horsebow. So I saw some horsebow videos, and this wasn't quite the right shape, but almost there. I think I think we're almost there now. This might be it. This is about all I want to do now. It's had too many heat gun sessions. So you can see I've had it viced. That's what I should do. Before I take that away, the process is, you can, depending on how confident you are with your piece of wood, before even heating it, you can do some bending with the clamps here to get it towards the shape you want to be, and also to help hold it into place and get everything balanced on both sides, sort of depending what you're trying to create or cure. Yeah, you won't see, but I put another clamp here because this limb just came just a little bit forward from the other one, so there's not a clamp on that side, but I did on this side. So you see how that works out. Hopefully that's okay. Yeah, heated them up nice and gently. You do a real nice smooth move around. I'm going to try and do the small chunks at a time. So if you move around too much, it's just never going to get heated up enough. And as well as making sure you don't burn it, stay in one spot too long and actually burn the thing, you want to make sure that you have given it enough heat. You just sort of heat up the surface very, very quickly. It's going to feel really hot, but it's not penetrated the wood properly. So you want to sort of just keep a vague idea of how long you've stayed on each spot. I won't do it too much because I've done this one already. But that, just to do this one sort of area, you might be here 10-15 minutes, something like that. So yeah, doing it in steam and doing it with heat gun has its various advantages. Obviously, dealing with the raggedy bits of wood that I have, there are lots of twists and kinks and things to deal with. It's been good to do it like this. I feel with steam, it's just going to be tricky. So yeah, you got to sort of shape it through its various stages of taking wood away. So it seems to work. Chew me out about using the heat gun if you need to. It's fine. I realise I should be using steam. But yeah, now earlier before I had dinner, I heated up these. I made this one was slightly more recurved than this one, reflexed, sorry, than this end. So I put the bow back in and made sure that both these tips were flexed to the same point. I still feel, no, that's it. Just had the heat gun on it now. I was like, that's a little bit warm still. Maybe I should let it cool down. But no, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So to make sure that they were both the same, put it back in and gave it just a bit more recurve. Encourage them to both be in the same place. So we'll see how we've done. But now that the clamp's been on a bit, something I should definitely mention. They will typically, whatever bending you do, it will not stay in the exact spot that you bended it to. It's gonna come back just a little bit. That's it. That's being assisted by this other clamp. So I'll keep that where it is and take this clamp off. So yeah, it's gonna come up just a wee bit. And you can see now we've got a lovely reflexed end to my horsebow here. The aficionados will be able to tell me if I'm getting a shape that's looking relatively close. The frame's down here, isn't it? And are they looking even? They're looking pretty good to me. All thanks to the jig. Keeping things nice and even and controlled and allowing us to apply pressure exactly where we need to. Yeah, and I've gone through all of that now. I need to make sure it's in the same alignment that it should be. There's a problem with this is you can create problems and then sort of chase them back and forth. Yeah, important thing to you want to make sure things like your tips here, so any points that rest on your chocks are evenly worn down, so that you're not creating twists and things like that. It can be very finicky, but yeah, it makes it doable. You can turn a raggedy stick into a beautiful contoured bow. And you get this, yeah. In the process of doing this, I did flex the bow in the wrong direction. And I popped the handle off here, but that's fine. That's allowed us that nice flat surface to get back on the jig and just do final tweaks before this goes back on again. And then what's the final stage with this one? I'm going to I want a nice flat surface here, because I'm going to take some of this mahogany here and create a tip overlay. So being a U-bow, I should say, people who are joining us for the first time, hello, if you're new to U-bows. This is a U Selfbow. Wood choice on bows is very important. Knowing each wood is important to make a bow out of them, because although something like ash is similar in application to yew, you can make war bows and long bows out of it. The wood themselves are very different. Harvesting is very different. The cure process, working on them, to use much harder. It's going to blunt in your tools, and then the way they respond to heat and shaping and bending, it's all very slightly different. Yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind if you're new to all of this. This subject is, I found it's one of those, like mushroom hunting. In fact, it's the more you know, the more you realise you didn't know. It's across history and geography. There's a huge amount that bows touch on. Very important to humanity, I think. So good to be keeping these skills alive. So yeah, hopefully I've enlightened you to what a jig can do, and don't scorch your wood is the main thing there, because I think a heat gun is probably the first way that I went about doing it. Just take care, slow and steady, get that shaping. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next one. Ta.